The purpose of creation. Introduction. Moon's theology presents a complex worldview that synthesizes Christian, Buddhist, Confucian, and modern philosophical ideas. Here we will delve into Reverend Moon's interpretation of creation's purpose, exploring its theological foundations, historical context, and cultural impact. Traditional Abrahamic views of creation. To understand Moon's theology, it's essential to first consider traditional Abrahamic perspectives on creation. In Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, God is the creator of the universe, who brought humans into existence to steward the earth and deepen their relationship with the divine. Humanity's purpose is often framed as one of worship, moral responsibility, and partnership with God. For example, in the book of Genesis, God creates Adam and Eve, blesses them with dominion over creation, and establishes a covenant of harmony. Humanity's spiritual and physical fall disrupts this relationship, and redemption is sought through faith, repentance, and divine grace. Moon's teachings, while rooted in these traditions, diverge in significant ways, blending elements of Korean folk religion and modern social thought. The divine principle, Moon's theological framework. At the core of Moon's theology is the divine principle, which serves as the Unification Church's foundational manual. The book outlines a cosmology that sees creation as a dynamic process driven by God's desire for duality and union. According to Moon, God is not a solitary being but the source, a transcendent force who seeks fullness through the creation of a true father and true mother, the first human beings, Adam and Eve. Unlike traditional Christian notions of God as a paternal figure, Moon emphasizes God's role as a parent who yearns for a perfect family unit to exemplify divine love and balance. Moon's theology introduces the concept of the two spirits, male and female, as essential to creation. He argues that true divinity is only revealed through the union of opposites, a triadic principle of subject, object, and object partner. This idea is central to his view of the purpose of creation. For God to achieve his deepest desire for joy and fulfillment, humanity must fulfill the role of true parents who mirror his love and create harmony between the sexes. The first creation and the fall of angels. One of the most distinctive aspects of Moon's theology is the idea that the first creation was not humanity, but a realm of spiritual beings called angels or fallen angels. According to the divine principle, God first created a higher spiritual world, where angels represented the balance between male and female principles. However, when these beings rebelled against God's authority, often linked to the biblical story of Lucifer's fall, the first creation collapsed. Moon argues that God's original plan for a harmonious universe was thwarted by this spiritual rebellion, leaving a vacuum that necessitated a second attempt, the creation of humanity. This concept challenges traditional Christian narratives, which often focus on Adam and Eve as the first fallen beings. For Moon, humanity is the second attempt by God to complete his purpose. Unlike angels, humans possess original blessing rather than original sin, a spiritual potential to restore the harmony God envisioned. This idea aligns with optimistic views of human nature but diverges sharply from the Augustinian emphasis on inherited guilt from Adam's transgression. The second creation and human purpose. In Moon's cosmology, the creation of Adam and Eve marks the second creation. Humans were born with a dual nature, a physical body and a spiritual essence, the original mind. Their purpose is to live in harmony with God's law and with each other, thereby restoring the balance shattered by the rebellion of the first creation. However, humanity inherited a fallen nature from the spiritual world, which Moon attributes to an imbalance between the male and female principles. He sees the fall of Adam and Eve as a consequence of failing to uphold the principle of unity and love between genders. Central to Moon's theology is the belief that true love, a selfless, committed union between individuals, is the means by which humans can fulfill their purpose. This love must begin within the family unit, as the family is the foundational cell of society. Moon argues that when a family embodies genuine love, it reflects God's own love and contributes to the harmony of the world. The family, in turn, is the bridge to the kingdom of heaven on earth, a utopian society where all beings live in unity. The role of the true parents. One of the most controversial aspects of Moon's theology is his self-identification and that of his wife, Hak Jahan, as the true parents of mankind. In traditional Christian theology, Jesus Christ is the sole mediator between God and humanity. By contrast, Moon and Han are seen as the spiritual parents who completed the second creation and restored the balance disrupted by the fall of Adam and Eve. Their marriage in 1960 is regarded as a symbolic act of reconciliation between the sexes and as the foundation for a global true family. This elevation of Moon and Han to a messianic role has drawn criticism, with some calling it a form of cultic personality worship. However, within the Unification Church, it is framed as a continuation of God's plan. Moon taught that the true parents would guide humanity toward the second coming of Christ, which in his view would not be a singular individual but a couple who embody the true family. This theology reflects Moon's emphasis on duality and the belief that the family is the ultimate model for divine love and unity, human responsibility and the way of restoration. For Moon, the purpose of creation is not just philosophical but practical. Humans must actively participate in the process of reconciliation to fulfill their role. This involves several key principles. True marriage. Moon taught that marriage is the cornerstone of reconciliation. A union based on true love, not convenience or selfish desires, bridges the gap between the spiritual and material worlds. The Unification Church is famous for its mass weddings, which aim to create a global network of such marriages. Ethical conduct. Moon emphasized moral living as a way to align with God's will. This includes honesty, integrity, and commitment to the greater good. Missionary work. Members are encouraged to share the divine principle and promote peace through interfaith dialogue and social action. The Church has been involved in numerous humanitarian efforts, including aid for refugees and disaster relief. Prayer and meditation. Spiritual practices like prayer and meditation are vital for aligning one's will with God's and cultivating the strength to live ethically. Moon's vision of human responsibility is deeply communal. He believed that individual transformation would lead to societal and global harmony, as each family unit becomes a microcosm of the kingdom of heaven. The vision of the kingdom of heaven on earth. A central tenet of Moon's theology is the establishment of the kingdom of heaven on earth, a utopian society where all barriers, religious, cultural, and national, dissolve in unity. This vision is rooted in his belief that God's ultimate purpose is to manifest his love through human relationships. The kingdom would be achieved through 3 stages. True family, restoring harmony in the family unit. True nation, extending love and cooperation to the national level. True world, building a global community under God's guidance. Moon saw this as a continuation of Jesus' message, with his and Han's marriages being the starting point. He often quoted biblical passages, such as the Beatitudes, to underscore the importance of peace, justice, and reconciliation. His 1973 peace agreement with North Korea, though controversial, was an attempt to apply these principles on a geopolitical scale. Criticisms and controversies. Moon's theology has faced significant criticism, both from religious and secular perspectives. Key points of contention include messianic self-identification. Critics argue that Moon and Han's elevation to true parents borders on self-deification, diverging from traditional Christian humility. Cultic practices. The Unification Church's early focus on proselytization, media outreach, and youth recruitment has often been scrutinized, with some labeling it a cult. Doctrinal unorthodoxy. The rejection of original sin and the emphasis on familial reconciliation as the path to salvation challenge mainstream Christian theology. Political involvement. Moon's active engagement in politics, including his role in the 1968 Olympics and 1980s US political campaigns, has drawn accusations of ulterior motives. Despite these criticisms, the Unification Church remains a global religious movement with millions of adherents. Its emphasis on interfaith dialogue and humanitarian work has also earned some recognition for its contributions to international peace efforts. Legacy and modern relevance. Reverend Moon passed away in 2012, but his legacy endures through the Unification Church, now led by his wife, Hak Ja-han Moon. The church continues to promote its vision of unity, with a focus on youth education, cultural outreach, and global activism. Moon's teachings resonate in an era marked by social fragmentation, offering a framework for addressing modern issues like family disintegration, environmental degradation, and intercultural conflict. While his theology remains divisive, it provides a unique lens through which to examine the intersection of religion, politics, and human relationships. For those open to his message, Moon's emphasis on love, responsibility, and reconciliation offers a hopeful vision for the future, one where the purpose of creation is not merely to exist but to love and to unite. Conclusion. Reverend Sun Myung Moon's theology of creation reimagines the role of humanity as co-creators with God, tasked with restoring harmony through true love and ethical living. His ideas challenge conventional views of sin and salvation, emphasizing the transformative power of the family and the importance of duality in spiritual growth. While controversial, Moon's teachings reflect a profound optimism in human potential and an enduring desire for a more peaceful world. As society grapples with division and existential challenges, Moon's vision invites reflection on how love, unity, and purpose might yet fulfill the divine plan.